introduce the mayor of our fine city, Mayor Jake Creamer. Vero Beach. Let me just tell you a couple of things about what's going on at Florida Tech, and I want you to meet a few people. Let me tell you in general, we're having a good year as the school year opens. We were designated last year by U.S. News and World Report as a Tier 1 National Research University. That's the highest it gets, and we're really happy with that. The only 3 universities in Florida ranked above us are the University of Florida, Florida State, and University of Miami. But notice all 3 of them have both medical and law schools. So if you control for medical and law schools, we also, another interesting publication, Washington Monthly, adds things like military service, Peace Corps service, contributions to the community, and they rank Florida Tech as #1 in the state of Florida in terms of public service, and we're really proud of that as well. But probably the most interesting, and I must confess, the most surprising ranking we got this year. Now, we knew we were pretty good at graduating people. We graduate people in 4 years. Now you may say, big deal. The average is 6 years in the United States. 6 years is the average. We graduate people in 4 years with bachelor's degrees. So we knew we were doing a good job there. By the way, our students repay their loans. That's very important too. The federal government has become very interested in what they call gainful employment. So they want to make sure that college graduates actually get jobs and they're able to repay those loans that they take out to go to college. So PayScale reports in conjunction with Bloomberg does an analysis for the feds, and they determine in the state of Florida, they look at salaries of graduates within 6 months, starting salaries, and then 20 years out for mid-career salaries. Florida Tech was #1 in the state of Florida. Highest starting salaries and highest mid-career salaries in the entire state of Florida, and about #4 in the entire Southeast, only behind Duke, Emory, and Vanderbilt. That's an amazing figure for me. I must admit this is a very interesting year. We were a little worried because last year we had the highest graduating classes in history. 1,500 students graduated last year. So we were a little bit worried about what was going to happen. So we had planned for about 700 new students. And Dr. McKay, who I'll introduce in a minute, just told me as of today we got 960 new students. So on the Melbourne campus, that gives us a total of about 5,000 students. And then we've got 10 off-campus sites across the eastern United States, another couple thousand there. So about 7,000 of what I'll call traditional students.
The neat thing about Florida Institute of Technology, or FIT, or Florida Tech, or however how you'd like to refer to it, is the fact that even though we're a school of technology, we do a variety of things and we do them well. If I start bragging, I learned something a few years ago about the chopped liver problem, and that is that when I brag on how great we're doing in computer security, then the other computer scientists get their feelings hurt. And if we brag about how great we do in autism treatment, then the people that do organizational psychology, they get their feelings hurt. Mary Beth's shaking her head. She's our dean of that. She knows that. In fact, she gets her feelings hurt no matter what I say. That's just how it is.
How do you feel about that?
It really doesn't bother me anymore, sir. And, some people just have tender feelings. You have to live with it, like our football coach. I'm not sure. But we'll see. We'll see. But 2 or 3 great things have happened this last year. We've always been, sort of the Minuteman U or Rocket University or whatever you want to call us. And so the space program is near and dear to our heart. We all know that there are issues with the shuttle program winding down, etc. So where are we going next? Well, we're going to commercialization of space, commercial vehicles, using the space station for commercial processes, etc. And so there was a big competition last year that the FAA ran that said, okay, now we're in charge. We're going to start overseeing the launch of vehicles into space for the purpose of controlling commercial flight, etc. And so they said, okay, let's put out for bid and let's have proposals come in from the best universities in the country, and let's select someone who will be the FAA Center of Excellence for commercial transportation for space. And so us and a couple of other schools, including a little one out west named Stanford, entered that competition, and in the end, Stanford and FIT were made co-owners of that FAA Center of Excellence, so we won. You know,
It's been just a whirlwind for me. It's been an unbelievable experience. I lived my entire life in Indiana. Born and raised, went to Terre Haute North High School. Terre Haute is a town of about 60,000 people just on the border of Indiana and Illinois, 50 miles from Indianapolis. Went to Indiana State University. Most people know Indiana State because of Larry Bird. And Indiana State is still living on Larry Bird's name. Haven't done anything since. That's okay. Went to Indiana State. Went on to coach back at Indiana State as a graduate assistant after spending a short time in Illinois as a high school coach. And then went to Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology where I was an assistant. And I was an assistant there for 4 years, and then I was promoted to the head coach for 4 years. A lot of similarities between Florida Tech and Rose-Hulman. Although Florida Tech has a much broader education, a lot more students, very much more involved in research, all those types of things, and great interesting stuff. So football is not nearly as interesting as I'm getting ready, as what we've already heard today. But people say geeks, nerds, all that type of stuff can't do athletics, can't do football. We can. You know, Rose-Hulman had 10 winning seasons in 113 years. And in my 4 years as the head coach, we had 4 winning seasons in a row. And it's about cultivating the student athlete. And that's what we're about at Florida Tech, is cultivating the student athlete. And it starts with recruiting. We're going to recruit great students. It starts with retention and being able to help the student athlete. The student athlete does a lot of great things. People say, well, they're they shouldn't be treated differently, but they are different because they go out and they represent. They put Florida Tech across their chest, FIT across their chest every weekend, and they represent the institution. So we're going to help them with study tables and all those types of things. I had my first meeting with the team earlier this week, and we have 46 student athletes that chose to come here to play football before they even had a head coach, before they even really knew what a facility was going to be like or anything like that, on no scholarships. So they did a great job. Ray Herring, one of the assistants, who was from went to school at Holy Trinity and then went to Notre Dame, did a great job of recruiting. We have a little over 40 student athletes on campus right now playing football, and then we have another 10 coming in January. So we're going to have over 50 already on the team in one class when January comes here. But I had my first meeting and I laid out all the expectations and things that is expected out of a Florida Tech football player. And it is to represent Florida Tech to the highest ability. One acronym I used, I'm not going to take a long time, but one acronym I used was the word STEAL. And we're going to build this program from the ground up with STEAL. And it has a lot of different meanings, but the words that I use to them is sacrifice. They have to be able to sacrifice. They're losing a year of eligibility. They're sacrificing maybe some of the other things that they want to do to be a football player and represent Florida Tech as a football player. Trust. They have to trust me. I have to trust them. I have to trust the administration. All those types of things that we're going to be successful. Education. Education is the most important thing, and I will preach that every single day. Enthusiasm, you have to have an enthusiasm with everything you do, and then leadership. So that's the acronym that I use to the players, and they're super excited to be a part. We are getting out and getting involved in the community. We've already developed a reading program with University Park Elementary School right there on campus. We've already started to develop and in talks with developing a mentoring program at Stone Middle School, also on University, the other way if you head east. and another mentoring program from a separate agency. And we're doing things at West Melbourne Football League Park, the Rec League. We're getting out in the community already, and we've only been in school for 2 weeks. And I'm excited about the type of athlete and type of student athlete that we're going to bring here. And I expect all of you at the games in 2013. Okay, I expect the mayor to be painted up and out there. Okay, so thank you for your time.
How was the reception tonight?
It was fantastic. We had a lot of people show up. We got to meet a lot of past alumni and future students and interact with them. So I think it was really good.
Do you recommend it for other alumni?
Absolutely. I actually have friends out in Germany who are like, "Where's the alumni reception in Germany?" So you should do it more often in more cities. I think we'd have a big turnout.
So Carl, how was the reception tonight?
Oh, it's great. Got to see an old professor, possibly getting a great new job. Met
Really?
some new friends.
Someone gave you a chance maybe to get a new job?
Hopefully, we'll see.
And what about, would you encourage other alumni to come to an event like this?
Definitely. It's a lot of fun. You get to meet some new people. Good times.